New photo of baby Bigfoot claims to be 99.9% believable. Boom. That is a baby Bigfoot. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Drip Podcast. This is a cool one. This is really cool. This is, I think, evidence of Bigfoot. And I know people are going to be like, that's it. He's gone. He's gone too. That's it. He's never coming back. And they might be right. But
that's
to
too
me,
late for that opinion.
That's it. To me, this could be all the evidence that we need. And I want to make it clear, the point of this article that we're going to read isn't actually about Bigfoot. It's about evidence of 10-foot tall people discovered by archaeologists in a Nevada cave when they were looking for not giants. So it's always good when they stumble across something, you know. But anyway, before we get into that, I'm joined by Maya. I'm joined by Scott. Thank you for joining me, guys. Scott, I know you're a big fan of Bigfoot. Everyone knows you're a big fan of Bigfoot. But Maya, where do you stand on Bigfoot? For the audio listeners, Maya's tapping her lip.
Big fan.
Pondering.
Big fan. Think it's. To be honest, I do think it's plausible. I do. Like, there's no reason it couldn't be. You know, we don't know everything that exists in the world. It could very much just be a creature that exists that's very rare that we don't see. Like, there's species of birds that people never see. You know, so it's very possible. The thing for me that I'm not the biggest fan of is Bigfoot believers. I do find you two in particular.
Jesus.
No, I do find that the general kind of Bigfoot believer, Bigfoot hunter tends to be a little bit scary.
Doesn't help with the movement. Is that what you're trying to say? When when they're running about pouring fox piss on themselves, screaming in the woods, they're not really helping get people on board. I guess you could so what you could say is, Bigfoot hunters are kind of like the Just Stop Oil of that. They're not helping get people on board. In fact, you're kind of pushing people away from your cause.
But I believe in the cause. I believe in what Just Stop Oil are fighting for. I don't believe in the way that they go about it. And probably both groups of people do pour piss on themselves in certain situations, you know? So
it's almost certainly true.
Don't we all, Maybe we're all Bigfoot supporters and Just Stop Oil activists, at heart.
Maybe.
Down.
But there you go. I think that is a great way to perhaps describe Bigfoot hunters. Mm-hmm. But if you're a Bigfoot hunter and you want to come on the show, please do. So, yeah, like I say, 10-foot tall people discovered by archaeologists in a Nevada cave. Yeah, let's jump into it, shall we? And then we've got a little side dish of a photo of a baby Bigfoot. So we're going all in on the Bigfoot today. So, Scott, if you could bring this up, please. Thank you very much. Okay, we don't need it that big. Let's make it. There we go. That's perfect. Okay, right. So, 10-foot tall people discovered by archaeologists in a Nevada cave. Scott, if you could maybe just zoom in a little bit on the article. A little bit more. Look at that. Magical. There we go. Right, so mythology, folklore, and even the Bible tells us that giants once roamed the earth. And it turns out there's actually evidence to back this claim. So, extraordinary human remains have been found in the US state of Nevada, with some of the skeletons measuring up to 10 feet tall. Alongside their jaw-dropping size, the bodies, some of which were said to have been mummified, were found to have had red hair. This has fueled the theory passed down through the ages that a long-forgotten race of humans once dominated southwestern America. According to the Paiute, a tribe that settled in the Nevada region thousands of years ago, cannibalistic red-haired giants called the Sea-Tay-Ka came to the Americas from a distant island. Legend has it that the Sea-Tay-Ka crossed the ocean on rafts made of reeds, and they soon made a name for themselves as being taller, stronger, and crueler than ordinary men. Then in 1911, while digging for bat guano, which is a key ingredient in fertilizer, in a cave near the city of Lovelock, Nevada, some miners unearthed a number of strange objects. So here you can see a picture.
Unearthing objects for?
Oh, I see it. I see it. So there you go. There's an image there. Miners were digging for guano in Lovelock Cave when they found thousands of extraordinary artifacts. I really like it when that's not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
I feel it helps.
Isn't it?
Huh?
Guano's poo, isn't it?
I don't know. I actually don't know.
I want to say guano, bat guano's bat poo. Might be wrong.
Quite possibly. It's for fertilizer, so probably like ammonia and stuff.
Yeah.
This prompted the launch of 2 official excavations in 1912 and then in 1924, during which thousands of artifacts were recovered. Among the staggering finds were the mummies nicknamed the Lovelock Giants, which measured between 8 and 10 feet tall, according to Archaeology World. They also found 15-inch long sandals that showed signs of wear and a boulder etched with what appears to be a giant handprint. Shortly after the second excavation in 1931, an article published in local newspaper the Nevada Review-Minor claimed that 2 giant skeletons had been discovered in a dry lake bed close to Lovelock. These remains measured 8.5 and 10 feet in height respectively, and were mummified in a manner similar to that employed by the ancient Egyptians. And while all of this may sound far-fetched, the legend of these strange people crops up all over the Americas, which is why I'm going to link it into Bigfoot. For example, in the 16th century, a Spanish conquistador called Pedro Cieza de Leon recorded an ancient Peruvian tale about the giant's origins. In his account, De Leon wrote that the towering figures came by sea in rafts of reeds in the manner of large boats, and that some of the men were so tall that from the knee down they were as big as the length of an ordinary fair-sized man. And here we see an image of a lady. The Paiute, is Paiute, people were said to have fought back after years of being terrorized and cannibalized by the Sea-Tay-Ka. So furthermore, high up in the Andes, what's in the Andes? The yay. Between Peru and Bolivia, skeletons with elongate, you know when like you're at school and the teacher asks a question that he thinks they'll know the answer to instantly, and then they just have to answer it because there's fucking silence.
I was going to say mountains.
Brilliant.
My brain was trying to work out which of the many Bigfoot variations it was. I was stuck between a few.
Between Peru and Bolivia, skeletons with elongated skulls have been found. The remains are said to be around 3,000 years old and much larger than normal human ones. Intriguingly, some of them were also found to have red hair. According to Archaeology World, some scientists attribute this reddish colour to the environment in which the bodies were buried. However, others view it as proof of the existence of the Sea-Tay-Ka and their kin. And if you're wondering how such a strong and monstrous race came to disappear, if indeed it ever existed at all, the Paiute have the answer. According to their mythology, the Sea-Tay-Ka waged war on them and all other neighbouring tribes, wreaking terror and destruction. After years of fighting, the tribes united against this formidable foe. And here we have an image of a skull. And it says, some experts say skeletal evidence of giants have been found across the Nevada region and elsewhere in the Americas. Eventually, the last remaining giants were chased away and sought shelter inside Lovelock Cave. Seizing their chance, the tribes started a fire at the cave entrance, suffocating and burning alive the few Siteka who were left. Interestingly, when the initial discoveries were made at the cave back in 1911, evidence of extreme burning near its entrance was found, the History Channel reports. And even if these 10-foot giants are just a figment of folklore and fertile imaginations, it's still fun when all the threads of the story come together. So, that is the 10-foot tall people that were discovered, the skeletons that were discovered. So they're potentially a race, like a sub-race of human that came from some sort of island and started reproducing on the Americas, started eating people. The locals had enough, fought back, killed a load of them, and then pushed them into cave systems. Now, obviously we know that the Americas have very, very expansive cave systems, especially around all the national parks and stuff. And is it possible that this subspecies of human, these giants, were pushed into the caves, remained there, survived there, evolved there, and are what we would consider a Bigfoot?
I think it would make sense. Like you say, the cave system would mean they'd be able to spread around a little bit, possibly quite a lot. But yeah, I think generally they're pushing them into the cave and then them sort of just going, away in smaller numbers, becoming quite sparse. Makes a lot of sense for Bigfoot.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I don't know, I just think if this is real, which I believe it is, like, these archaeologists have found these remains. I just think it adds a lot of credibility to the possibility of a species like the Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And
so obviously the excavation was early 1900s. I'm assuming that means there's no evidence of those bones anywhere? Question mark?
I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it doesn't specify.
I think that's my only... I don't want to pick holes in the story, but like if they did genuinely find the bones of 10 feet tall people, surely these need to be documented somewhere.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. I do like the fact that, at least in this article, they've not pushed it as being, Bigfoot or giants per se. They've basically just gone really tall bones, orange hair.
Yeah.
And sort of let us piece it together ourselves, which I think adds quite a lot of credibility, because then it would have been very easy for them to have immediately gone giants, whereas they've kind of gone... They've used the word giant, but more in the sense of it's very tall as opposed to literal. And to actually make us dive right into it.
Yeah, because I suppose, like, evolution and all of those things doesn't mean that 10 feet tall isn't human and has to be a yeti necessarily. There's definitely going to be parts of our human history that are lost to time, and it's very possible that there was a race of humans that was that size at one point.
I mean, it's very plausible because there are some parts of the world where the people are very small. There's a lot of shorter.
Yeah.
Especially back in the day, people used to be a lot smaller in the more city sort of built areas. Which is obviously over time they became smaller. So yeah, I don't see why it couldn't be that they've gotten bigger.
Yeah.
And it is just a different tribe or a different group of people that have travelled from somewhere else to be there.
I'm just looking across just more sources, because it's basically every news outlet that you can imagine has reported on this. But I'm just on the New York Post at the moment, where it says the first foray into Lovelock Cave was made in 1911 when a pair of miners searching for guano or bat excrement, so you were right, Scott, used as fertilizer, allegedly unearthed 60 human skeletons, including some measuring between 7 and 8 feet tall. The extraordinary find was mentioned in a 1935 biography of mining engineer John T. Reed, but no evidence proving the existence of the gargantuan remains ever materialized. However, 2 subsequent excavations that were carried out in 1912 and 1924 brought to light thousands of ancient artifacts, among them a well-worn sandal measuring an astonishing 15 inches in length, which is the equivalent of a modern-day size 29 shoe. For comparison, NBA star Shaquille O'Neal stands at 7 foot 1 inches tall and wears a size 22. And I am now looking at the sandal that was excavated. However, then we have radiocarbon dating later placed human bone fragments and plant material found in the cave between 2030 BC and 2030 and 1218 BC. Another surprising discovery made inside the Lovelock Cave was a handprint embedded on a rock face that measured twice the size of the average human palm. I'm just trying to see like where they took the bones.
Yeah, that is one of the bigger bits there, I guess. I guess if they've got the sandal, which I'm assuming they have actually got, and obviously I assume there's going to be pictures of the handprint somewhere. So I guess if the bones are up for some debate.
Yeah, that seems a little bit sus to me.
Yeah. But then the sandal and the handprint are still quite... The fact they sort of tie in with the other bit, and there's proof of those 2 bits, adds to the other, I think.
It's interesting.
Also, I think back then there'd have been less of a reason to lie about it. Because I can't imagine in, 1910s sort of period, people were as Bigfoot huntery. It wasn't as much of a trending topic as it is now, I would guess.
Yeah, but still, if you found a subspecies of human, you'd probably make a lot of money off of it.
Yeah, good point.
No, I'm just seeing like, yeah, I'm just seeing the same stuff, that there was a war that was waged between these tribes and these giants, and that they were forced into that cave. But I just can't seem to find anywhere that would suggest that the bones have been stored anywhere. Any artifacts that might have been discovered were probably neglected or lost. Yeah, that's all I've really got. All that seems to be, all that seems to remain is this fucking sandal. Oh, and I'm looking at the handprint, and that is fucking huge. That is bigger than fucking 2 hands. That's like that. Like, for audio listeners, you won't see this, but it's like fucking huge.
It's like head sized.
Yeah, but I thought it was very interesting. The mummified thing, like ancient Egyptians. The fact that they're talking about elongated skulls as well. Sounds like it could be an alien, right?
So it's giving me Indiana Jones vibes.
Yeah. And also just like these methods, I know people get angry when you talk about potentially alien intervention with Egyptians. They're like, oh, there were slaves, you racist. It's like, oh my God, let's just fucking pull a fun thread for a minute and have some escapism. Fuck me. But, the fact that all these things these traditions and things expand across the world in times when they were making boats out of fucking reeds. It's just interesting to think that it could have been, taught from above.
I mean,
and maybe these creatures are it.
The description does feel very, obviously, Bigfooty, but also some of it does match kind of alien descriptions, being quite tall with large extremities, a large elongated head. It all does feel quite alien-ish.
Yeah, and
it's the fur that potentially leans towards Bigfoot.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the biblical Nephalim, which are the forsworn offspring of the sons of God with the daughters of men. Which again, potentially, I don't mean this inflammatory, I'm just pulling fun threads. Religion, etc., could have been a method of explaining things that they didn't understand. And so the fact that, you've got the idea that these could potentially be these Nephilim, again, to me, points to the sky, which we now know as space. And I think there's just very possible that this could again be linked to aliens. But yeah, very, very interesting to say the least. But it sounds like they just squandered the bones, which is a big shame. It is a big shame. Okay, so story number 2, which is linked in. We have new photo of baby Bigfoot claimed to be 99.9% believable. 2 weeks ago.
As well.
2 weeks ago. Oof. Okay. So, commentators have claimed that a new photo of a baby Bigfoot posted on Facebook is 99.9% believable. Now, for the video people, when we get to the picture, I will expand it because you need to see this. Bigfoot.
I feel like anything that has been posted on Facebook is automatically not 99.9% believable. That's at least got to drop 10% just by being posted on Facebook.
Well, as someone with 330,000 followers on Facebook, I take that personally. So,
good.
Bigfoot or Sasquatch is a large and hairy human-like creature which some believe to inhabit forests in North America. A photo posted by Stephanie Wood in a public Bigfoot Believers Facebook group that Scott is almost definitely a part of has got a lot of people talking about if the photo is real or not. Stephanie posted the photo in a cropped close-up of the baby Bigfoot with the caption, "We know what you're thinking. It's Chaka from Land of the Lost. Our gut reaction to this photo is that it's probably a short person in a costume, maybe a kid, right? But after analysing it for a while, we're not so sure anymore. Could this be a baby Sasquatch or one of those hairy little people that pop up in reports every now and then, which are described as squatchlets? One thing we know for sure is that the truth is truly stranger than fiction in more cases than not. Chaka or squatchlet, you decide." Right.
I think squatchlet's my new favourite word.
Here it comes. Scroll down.
Okay.
Right, here we go.
Boom. Boom. That is a baby Bigfoot. For the audio listeners, it's a baby Bigfoot. You might want to pop over to the video to see what's going on.
The audio listeners, picture Bigfoot and then take away about 6 foot.
You got a baby Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Foot.
Just, yeah.
Small foot.
Small foot. An adult small foot or a baby Bigfoot?
I've never seen Land of the Lost, but I have just Googled Chaka from Land of the Lost, and that is exactly what has been pictured.
Really?
Except, no, it is exactly the same.
Can you Google Chaka, please, Scott, and show me and the people at home? I mean, my gut reaction is, oh wow, yeah, that is Chaka. Look at that. So we could have a Chaka cosplayer here.
Could be.
Which I think is actually more obscure to have that in the woods than Bigfoot.
Yeah. My gut reaction is, I think this might be the 0.01% that they're talking about. I think this is... I mean... do you know what? Out of this whole image, the fact that the deer haven't ran off is pretty mad. But also, the hand is the most convincing part to me. Like the fingers emerging from the fur.
Yeah, the bit from what I can see of the fingers, they almost look ape-like more than human fingers.
Big,
I think. I mean, the size too is
It's very interesting.
They just look sort of thicker. They look thicker than sort of.
I'll also start a discussion over on Patreon. I'll stick this picture on Patreon. If you want to become a patron, patreon.com/DutyRhino. And we will have a little chat and see who thinks it's real, who thinks it's baloney. But yeah,
say that it's 99.9%.
That's strong.
It's a bold claim.
That is very strong.
Like I say, the fact that deer haven't legged it,
but
it's making me think they're used to it.
Is the landscape is quite open, which means I can't imagine that this thing would be very fast. Like the law of physics dictates that it wouldn't be that fast.
Might be agile though, low center of gravity.
Yeah, but it's little. It's got little legs, so it's not going to get that far, that quick. And I think this is always the thing for me with Bigfoot proof. Is why is there and ghost proof as well? This all falls under the same category. Why is there never a clear image? I feel like there's so many opportunities.
And that's pretty clear. They just had to zoom it in a lot.
It's 2024. Like cameras are way better than that. I'm sorry. You can zoom in on the moon on Samsung cameras now. Like there's no excuse to have blurry pictures anymore.
I'm not one of those woods with me fancy Samsung camera.
What's on your phone? The Samsung mobile camera phone can zoom in on the moon.
I mean, I've got a Pixel 7 and mine can't do that good quality. Mine's about that quality.
No way. I refuse.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to take a picture of my garden right now.
Oof.
And I'm going to show you. Continue.
Well, while this happens, I'll finish off the article. So one person commented, honestly, the deer in the photo make this 99.9% believable. This looks like an adolescent Sasquatch I've seen in a dream. Never had a physical sighting, but have heard signs of a Sasquatch. Another said, even the deer are saying, what the fuck? Maybe he was watching the deer and a big one was close to hunt it, said another. Others weren't so sure. One said that deer in the foreground is bigger than that child in a costume. Another commented the first sight of these things was a fraud or joke. Why can't you take that as truth along with no real sightings, except for blurry pictures that are hard to get in this new tech world? And the fact that we capture gorillas in their habitat, why not these? Face is too human, another noted. All very valid points, actually. Can you imagine, like, you know, that most famous image of
the Patterson Gimlin thing?
Yeah, is fake. Imagine that, right? Imagine it's fake. I know it's entirely plausible that it's fake. I'm just saying, let's say for fact it's fake, and it just spawned all of this. Oh, I don't know if it spawned it. Was the Bigfoot a thing before that? It must have been.
I think the concept was, yeah. I guess that was kind of...
Can you please stop sharing the thingy now, Scott? Thank you very much.
Yes.
So...
I'd just like to say I'd like to report my findings.
Yeah.
So, terrible thing to admit on the internet, but I've just taken a picture out of my window, which is over the back garden, and I can zoom all the way in to the neighbour's window and see in their house clearly.
There you go. There you go.
See, interesting, because I've got a picture here. Right, here's a photograph.
Mm-hmm.
That is a photograph.
If I zoom in to the photograph, this photograph is about 20, maybe 30 foot away. It is very unclear.
I could still tell you that that's Wayne Rooney, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's quite a distinguishable man, in fairness. It's the closest picture I had to a Bigfoot.
But there's many factors when it comes to taking photographs. There's lighting, there's movement, there's so many This thing, if that kid or baby Sasquatch was sneaking towards the person with the camera, the people with the deer, i.e. walking very, very, very slowly, then you're going to get a bit of a better picture than Wayne Rooney, sort of like semi-jogging to the fucking dugout. So, yeah.
It is true.
But yeah, so, I don't know.
Look at this, ready? This is another picture. So this was me at Aber Voyage with my mum, my mother, and my godmother, and it doesn't matter. Anyway. Whoa! Picture. Where is that picture? It's us. I'm going to zoom in on this guy in the background, ready?
Just going to zoom in on that guy in the background.
Who is so far away. You can almost
clear as day.
Brand glasses he's wearing.
Yeah.
And like you look at the full zoomed out picture, he's so far away. I would say he's further away than the baby Sasquatch is in this picture.
True. Fair.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that's always what does it for me with these evidence pictures is they're never clear. Like, and then you can't dispute it because it's not clear enough. So you just have to assume your mind fills in the blanks with the blurriness. You know what I mean? So, if you could see clearly that is a child's face in a costume, you're not having to fill in the blanks. Whereas because it's blurry, your mind can go either way. So if you're skeptical, it can go, I can see a child's face in a human hand. Or you could think those fingers look quite large for that body. Could they be ape's fingers instead, kind of thing? Yeah. So that's my skeptical opinion of the day.
There we go. Right. Shall we cap off with a patron's paranormal experience?
Nice, yeah.
Right. Okay. I need to remember where it was. I think it was in the Patreon group chat. That is over on Patreon. If you want to go and join that, you can. It's a beautiful place to be. Okay, here we go. Brandon Nelson, first of all, thank you for being a patron. Supporting the cause. Happened a few months ago, one night as I was asleep. I was awakened by the loudest bang on my bedroom window I'd ever heard. Frozen for a couple of minutes in fear, I eventually got up to peek out behind the blinds to see if there's anything outside. I'll add that my bedroom is on the ground floor at the back of the house, with the only access being through a wooden gate, which is always locked at night. As I hoped, there was no one trying to break in, as that was my first thought. To double check, I went to the kitchen, grabbed a knife just in case, because there had been break-ins in the area. I turned on the back porch light and there was nothing. I thought maybe a bird just flew into the window, but there was no sign of a bird or person in the back porch. Gate was still locked and everything was as it should be. At this point, I questioned if I even heard the bang. I gave up my search for an answer and just tried to sleep. Fast forward maybe a couple of months and the exact same thing happened again, and that's when I thought there had to be something else going on. I am a religious person, so the first thing I did was to pray for protection, and I shit you not, as I was praying, the bang happened again. I was terrified. I just checked everything as I did the first time, and no one was outside my window. No birds and no sign of entry to the back porch. That's when I just lay in bed scared shitless and continued praying until I eventually fell asleep. I haven't had anything else happen yet, but I wish I had an answer to who or what made those bangs. Surprised my window didn't smash with how loud it sounded. Now, I have absolutely no idea what could cause that.
Bat?
Well, I mean, I think he looked outside to see if there was, because if a bat or a bird or whatever twats a window, they
Yeah,
tend to they
twats
stun
a bit
themselves,
hard.
don't they? And then they
Yeah.
That's
Or
why I
the-
thought bat instead of bird, because maybe bats respond like because birds go into shock, don't they? So then they like play dead almost. I don't know
But
how.
I think
they
that's
did
because
it.
but I think that's because they smash their head, which just instantly knocks them out. Which
But it
would be
might
the same with a
case
bat,
that-
because their brains
But
in the
maybe
same
the
place.
bats are a little bit more sturdy than birds.
In the same way
possibly.
that if you headbutted a window, you'd probably be
Yeah,
a little bit done for.
or just lay on the
For a
floor,
bit.
not do anything.
Yeah,
Until
I think if I
someone
ran
takes
headfirst
it
into a
you.
window, I'd need a bit of time to recover.
Yeah,
The fact that there was nothing there is weird,
yeah.
Mm.
and it's happened multiple times. Which, well, yeah,
And surprised my
really
window
think-
didn't smash. So that implies that it was a bang on the glass.
And so loud as well.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like windows are not easy to smash. Like you think like even kicking a football like full pelt at a window won't smash it. Like you've got to for it to be for him to or her to consider it smash worthy. It
said
must
I've
be
been
pretty
a-
rough.
I'll tell you
Yeah.
one way that could explain it, and this is if it's near an RAF base, is if they have that aircraft that can go so fast that it creates a sonic boom.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
It could be that.
Could be, yeah. If
That's
it's
so
something you
niche.
don't recognise,
Yeah, it's
but if it's
very
something you
niche.
don't recognise,
Imagine
put it
that's
down
it.
to it.
Well, I'm just thinking, like,
Solved it.
it's something, unless it's paranormal, it's something that is hitting the window and leaving no evidence.
I mean, the only other thing I don't know. Did they describe the scene on the outside of the house? At what sort of area it was?
Just his back garden.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think because my living room window, sometimes we get less reputable people walking past who decide to just like smack the window really hard and then run by.
Jesus, where the fuck do you live?
What a lovely place. It's wonderful.
Camera. I'm ready to fight him.
Yeah, there's a couple of times I've opened the door and sort of immediately closed it again because I've seen several scary men in hoodies.
I'm not surprised.
Very Pontefract-y kind of the vibe I get when I
30s
open my
drive
front
again.
door.
Jeez, we'll be there soon.
Oh, bring it on.
Crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
failing that, I think you've got a gaslighting poltergeist. There was one bit that come across so gaslighty. What was it? Oh, what bit? What bit did I read? And I was like, "This ghost is gaslighting you, dude." Oh yeah, the gate was still locked and everything was as it should be. At this point, I questioned if I even heard the bang.
Yeah.
So I'd fucking with you, and it's like nothing actually happened. You know, it's all in your head.
The fact it kind of implies the bang was on the outside of the window, then I guess if you're just there, you're not going to be able to actually tell per se.
Yeah.
You would just assume that because you're inside, the bang didn't come from inside the house.
Yeah. I'm gonna
I
go
guess, yeah.
with poltergeist or sonic boom.
Eagle.
Seagull. Could be.
So, I mean,
I heard one outside your window, Scott. That's what made me say it.
but
But- that could hit a window with force and not get hurt because they're
They are
fucking
massive.
huge.
Yeah, they are. They're a
Yeah.
lot bigger than people think.
Seagulls are like
They are huge.
they're
they are
massive.
significant.
Pterodactyl.
They nest on my roof.
Oof.
You're not allowed to do anything about that though, so they just live up there now.
Oh.
They're surprisingly heavy as well, unrelated. I'll be laid in bed some mornings about 6 o'clock, just as the sun comes up. You'll hear them walking around on the roof.
Oh, I thought you were picking them up.
No. the
giving them a
footsteps
hug.
you hear. The
We have
footsteps
them-
you hear.
That nest on top of where I work. They
Mhm.
like sit on top of like the metal roof, and you could just
Oh,
hear
yeah.
them fucking plodding about all day because they've got their nests up there.
Bit of a dead one in my garden once. That was a treat.
Jesus.
Opened my back door, which was on the floor. I was like, don't know what to do with that.
Our cats like chatter at them and like go for them as if they're gonna catch them. Like, what the fuck are you
Yeah,
guys gonna
I've
do?
met your cats. They are going to be
Innit?
taken away by a seagull.
Innit? They can barely catch mice, for fuck's sake.
Cats will have a new home in a seagull nest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Little babies.
Begging for worms. Happy days.
But yeah, I will go with Sonic Boom / Poltergeist.
Yeah, if Sonic Boom gets ruled out, Poltergeist.
Yeah. So, if you'd like your questions answered and or stories read out, there's 2 ways to do it. Patreon or dutystories@gmail.com. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the giants and the Bigfoots and such. At home, hope you enjoyed this. If you're a viewer, give it a listen. If you're a listener, give it a watch. Share the pod about. Tell your friends, tell your family. If they fancy listening to some paranormal stuff every now and then, this is the pod for them. Brilliant. Thank you. We'll see you again soon. Bye, everyone.